Dunham, which gives me CRC membership all year round at all the other locations. They're already closed down there.
Are they really?
Believe it or not, yeah.
Summer? Pick your poison. Where do you want to sit?
For the year, yeah. The swimming pool.
You see Richie's got a brace off his arm and everything?
Better now.
Brace off the arm. Did I have a hospital visit last time?
No.
I hit
you
my
did.
elbow.
I'm sorry.
Probably since the last time we talked, we both had surgery. I had a colon resection myself.
Wow. I passed 3 kidney stones.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
Put it there all around.
Naturally, you did?
Getting old. Yep.
You didn't shoot the neighbor's dog, did you?
No. I started eating a lot of blueberries and drinking a lot of water.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I hear those are terrible.
Yeah, I had surgery once, and it seems like ever since then, I don't know if it's because of that surgery, the pain's been less.
Oh, wow.
And it's always been on the same side, so, you know.
Is it diet?
Yeah, it's definitely diet related. Well, I think it's partially diet, partially something they don't know, you know, that's probably hereditary.
Well, I hear, like, what is it, caffeine and pop and salt?
Yeah.
You
There's,
know,
a lot of different minerals like that, salt.
carbonated drinks.
And then there's these things, I always mispronounce it, but I think they might be called lectins or something. They're in most plants, but they're also high in certain things like spinach, some other things. And those lectins take those minerals and it binds them together, so the longer it's sitting in your kidney, the longer.
Because I was drinking a lot of, I don't drink pop, but I drink a lot of, used to drink a lot of those carbonated waters.
Yeah.
Since I had surgery, I since got away from those. Said hell no.
Yeah, sugar's a big one too. Yep, sugar and salt, 2 big ones.
Those are things I don't mess with a lot.
Yeah,
Rich eats a lot of salt.
Yeah.
Especially on this fried chicken. He eats the shit out of that stuff.
My mom would start with one or the other, and whichever one she started with, that caused or triggered the craving for the other one. So she'd eat chips or something, salt, and she'd be like, I need something sweet. Or she'd start with the sweets and then I need something salty.
Sweet and salty. That's
Yeah.
what they say. It's those peanuts and candy corn. You ever eat that?
Oh yeah, I like them both.
Yeah.
Not together, but.
No, you gotta try it together. Seriously.
Is that right?
Yeah, I paid.
Because it's sweet and salty.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because my wife makes chocolate chip cookies and she puts that what's that real big salt?
Sea salt?
Well, it's that grinded shit you grind it.
Yeah.
She puts salt on chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a real deal.
Wow. Who is that?
My wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she knows about your insurance policy, I guess.
I don't eat them, but I taste them once in a while for her.
Little sugar, salt, topped with lard.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
The better it is tasting,
the worse it is for you.
seems like it.
Yeah.
Until you acquire the taste. Like, you know, once I was eating a lot of vegetables, I was like, man, they taste pretty good.
Because one of our guys, and you may have met him, I don't know if you met him or not, Jan, the guy who works in Germany for a long time.
No.
Well, he makes cookies for Christmas for everybody, and you can tell the difference because they don't use a whole hell of a lot of sugar over there.
Wow.
So you throw one of those in, and it's like.
I heard Canada's the same. They video where they compare Canadian ingredients on ketchup to U.S. ingredients. No high fructose corn syrup, and then a lot of the other ingredients are more to the roots. But yeah, supposedly the U.S. standards on some of that is kind of laxed.
Sorry about that. I was just being rude. I'm gonna turn this on vibrate.
No worries. What's with the new color cars? I'd call them maybe a darker, lighter black.
So it's funny you say that. So the problem is we can't get Ford didn't make cars this year. So, and apparently next year when they make them, they're going to do all white and black. So when we switch to Dodge, because the Chevys and motors are blowing in the cars.
Wow.
So we switched to Dodge, and we can't get the same color. So it was time to change to black, because the reality is if we would total a car or wreck a car, dealerships have the black and white ones on the lot. So it could take us 16, 20 weeks to get a gray one, and you might not be able to get one.
Wow.
So everything is just evolving to, you know, like Ford, like I said, is making, in 25, they're making a white and black and a white and black. So they're really limiting the colors. So like we can drive out to, you know, a Dodge dealership, certain ones, and we can just buy them right off the lot.
Wow. Wow.
You know, just the police
With
package.
the lights and everything?
No,
and
that
then you
takes a
them
little while.
You
to
still
the
gotta
local
take
guard?
We take them out to a place called Par Public Safety out in Blue Ash.
Okay.
Yeah, so they do a hell of a job. I mean, they're very meticulous. You'd be shocked to see how much wiring is in them things. I mean, it's incredible. But anyway, the reason I wanted to talk to you, by the way,
Yes, sir.
you're scaring the hell out of some of the zoning people. You know, when you're asking questions like, you know, what door does he come out of? What does he drive? What does he do? You know, it's obviously, I know you well enough that I can come talk to you about this stuff. You know that.
Yeah.
You know, because what I don't want is, you know, is for somebody to take you the wrong way and start to get in fear for their safety. You can ask for public records all you want, but the minute you start asking what their people's normal behaviors are and whether, you know, what they drive and what doors are going out of, it kind of gets a little bit, you know, you could do that to me all day long, my
What's
friend.
this? I'm sorry. Is this being recorded?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I turned it on because I know you like it being recorded.
What does it get for him?
It makes them feel a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was feeling a little uncomfortable that day myself.
For you.
Yeah, I could tell you what happened on my perspective.
Oh, sure. You know, I always listen to you, bud.
Yeah, I was walking on the sidewalk and I could kind of see in the windows, but not really. So I got up a little closer because I wasn't, you know, I wanted to see in the windows for different reasons. And I saw more people coming. I started seeing a little bit clearer as I got closer. And I saw like the light first because there was a computer back there, I guess.
Sure.
And then I thought I saw one or more people, so I started waving. And I didn't get a friendly wave back.
But did they wave with all 5 fingers or just one?
No, they didn't wave at all that I could see.
Really?
Yeah, no waving. So, you know, I'm out there, I'm waving.
Yeah.
And they throw the blind down, which I think, well, that makes sense. If you want privacy, you create privacy. Like if there's someone out on my sidewalk and
Sure.
I don't really want to say, but sometimes run around in the distance of an open window, maybe in my, you know, Pac-Man shorts or something, you know what I'm saying?
Pac-Man shorts.
So if I saw someone out there...
Hold on. You really have Pac-Man shorts?
No.
Okay.
But if I saw someone out there admiring my Pac-Man shorts...
It'd be kind of awkward.
Or even more scary if I had Trump shorts on and I saw someone out there giving me even a friendly wave with my Trump shorts on. I'm a little scared in today's environment, you know what I'm saying? But what I'd probably do is I'd probably close the blinds. At worst, I might call the police. I wouldn't do it, but I could reasonably see someone saying, hey, because I made this kind of call before when somebody said, hey, this guy's fishy.
Yeah.
So I called the police. They asked me to watch him. And I'm like, I was there for like 10, 15 something minutes. I'm like, I called you all up and I said, listen, I don't think this guy committed a crime, but somebody else was concerned about him. Yeah. And he seems to be, you know, talking to an old lady. I said maybe he could just do a little drive-by or something.
Yeah.
And so that's reasonable, but, you know, so anyway, so that blind went down and that made sense to me. So I'm just walking toward the door to the next window. And I'm not sure, I was maybe at the 3rd window or something. And a guy who I think identified himself later as John.
Okay.
He's
a zoning guy. Isn't he the zoning guy?
He seems to be aggressive, and I'm friendly. I mean, I'm talking to him like I'm ready to laugh, and you know, who's gonna make the first joke first, just like this environment. And he starts barking orders at me, something along the lines of "Go to the front desk." And you know, I think my first response might have been a shake of the head, no. Mm-hmm. And I think my first verbal response was, "Can I be here?"
Sure.
Because I mean, if you all didn't know me and we were out in public space, and I just came up and started barking orders at you, you know, you might think, does this guy have some kind of authority? Am I doing something wrong?
Yeah.
And then you might say, let me just clarify what's going on. Yeah. Am I allowed to be and exist in the spot I'm in that I think I'm allowed to be and exist in? Which, by the way, I later called your PD, and you all were extremely, I thought, constitutional.
Look at you.
Customer service. You guys were professional. And on recorded line, you told me that I could indeed do that.
He talked to you, didn't he?
Well, he talked to me the one day, but I think he talked to someone else too.
Okay.
I was calling him a couple issues because we have some First Amendment issues in this township as well. We can talk about that if you have time. But so you know, he barks the order at me a few times, and he seems to be aggressive, seems to be escalating. I remained professional and friendly. And then I think about that point, Skyler comes out and he says, "Hey, Rich," smiling, more like you guys than the other guy that was aggressive. Would I say threatening? No, there was glass between us. I didn't feel threatened in a sense, like, I felt like maybe he would call the police on me. Maybe he would be the kind of guy that would lie just under the, not even necessarily on purpose, but sometimes people in the stress of the moment,
Sure.
they think they see things they don't see. But anyway, Skyler comes out, we have a good conversation, I thought. We even were purposeful to end it on a positive note. Him and I disagree with some things.
That's healthy, bud.
So I can say at one point, I did get a little, what I might use the adjective, and I don't even know what the word means, but it feels like the right word, curt. So after 4 times of him basically dodging my question, "Hey, can I be here? Can I exist here?" I said, "Man," I've asked you 4 times now.
Yeah.
And you haven't, it took you 4 times to answer my question." He did finally answer and say, "Yes, I could be there." If 4 times to answer my question, I said, "Would you, something along those lines." And I was a little curt. And I thought at that time, 4 times, it's, justified.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the curtness came and then the answer, if the answer came and then the curtain, I would suspect the curtness came first and triggered the answer. But, Skyler came out, we had the conversation. So I ended up calling the guy back, found out who he was. I had his name wrong, of course, because, I ain't got the best memory, but I had his name wrong. I had a picture of his badge, which was good, so, But it turned out that I think his name's John Schill.
It is.
Okay. So, I said something along the lines to John, as a fig leaf. I said, "Hey, John, and I'm paraphrasing from memory. I haven't listened to it since or anything like that." I said, "Hey, John, as the guy that was up there, it seemed like you were aggressive with me. I recognize myself that I may have been a little curt after you asked me after I asked the same question 4 times."
Which is understandable.
Yeah, I thought it was a reasonable question under the circumstances.
Sure.
At that point, I don't know if he's undercover police or something else. So I said, I just wanted to apologize because of my curtness. I said, I think it's an interaction where we both, could learn from it. And you're shaking your head like, "Man, this guy makes sense." And I'm shaking my head like, "Man, this, where does this get bad?" Because, I guess it's not the end of the story, but I said, "Give me a call back, and I'd like to hear," and I'm not sure if I said this part or not, but I did leave my information, asked for a call back. I think I insinuated at a minimum that, I was kind of looking for an apology. I did articulate that I thought he wasn't professional. I might have said aggressive, something like that. And that, I'd also like to hear that he accepted my apology.
Sure.
And I didn't hear from him for like 2-3 days. I think each day, I don't think I called him on the weekend. I think I probably started calling him again Monday and Tuesday maybe. I still hadn't heard from him. I said, along the lines, "I haven't heard from you, I don't know if you're out or what."
So you still haven't heard from him?
Still haven't heard from him. Tuesday comes around, I'm like, we're going on a few days now, maybe going on a week. I'm like, I don't understand. It seems to me that maybe you're either trying to dodge me or that, I'm having a misunderstanding. If that's the case, I'd apologize again. But it seems like by this point you would have gotten back to me because I've heard you've been at work. And it turns out, I think it's on Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, Skyler gives me a call, says, "Hey, I told those guys," and at some point I contacted, I think his name might be something Roach, Tim Roach?
Tony Roach.
Tony Roach. And Tony, I said, "Tony, I'm calling your employee and he is not returning my calls."
Did you say it just like that?
No, but I called him, it's somewhere around Monday. It's somewhere around Monday or Tuesday, so I'm like, I'm a reasonable, logical thinking person. And, somewhere in there I'm also emailing Lori for something else saying, "You done a great job, I appreciate your professionalism.
Sure.
This ain't always the case." And at some point I said, I'm a lawful and peaceful man.
You are.
And I try to be.
Well, I think where, not to interrupt you,
No worries.
Rich, I think the misunderstanding sometimes is that everybody doesn't have the knowledge like we do of each other, right?
Right.
And I think once you know, when somebody shows up that doesn't know you and they start asking questions like, you know, what do you drive and what door do you come out of, and those questions like that, it weirds them out. I mean, you know what I mean? It makes them a little bit, they kind of get a little concerned with their safety. You know,
Well,
not because,
I think that's
not, and I know that's not
context.
your intent. I know that.
Not only
'Cause I
that,
know
but
you.
that's paranoia and out of context and in ignorance, all those things.
Well,
All on the side of him falling short. In the context, it's in the context of what public vehicle are you driving to do public
okay.
duties on. I would have thought he would have known by now that I'm an individual of public interest.
You are.
He knows my name. I articulated to Skylar that, hey, one is Skylar cut off communications between me and him. Since that, I've been respectful and have not called him back that I know of.
Okay, good.
I checked with the PD first. I let Skylar know first. He's now under investigation.
Okay, good.
That's what I told Skylar. I said I'm going to submit some public records request. I said to Skylar,
As you should.
this is the good part. I said, now keep in mind in the conversation Skylar and I had earlier, some of it was about First Amendment, and he made it clear to me that, with all due respect to the First Amendment, it's not a priority. So we'll get back to the First Amendment a little bit more later. But, you know, I respected all that. I put all that aside. And so, you know, I submitted the public records request with Skylar, and I'd asked him on the call, because, you know, I get a hold of him. I'm sitting out in front of the swimming pool and, you know, waiting in a hot parking lot with my air conditioning running. And I say, you know, were you there when this guy treated me the way he treated me? He said, no, I did not see it. I said, did you talk to anyone who witnessed him treating me the way he treated me? Mm-hmm. He said, no, I did not. I said, and that was pretty succinct. Later on in the conversation, I said, well, since you're not allowing me to communicate to him, I don't know if he wants to accept my apology and apologize to me, or if he's just giving me, in essence, the middle finger. I said, so would you, communicating on his behalf, let him know I'm seeking an apology? And he said, I'm not going to require that. I said, well, you requested of him. And I said, you've already admitted to me that you did not witness it yourself, and that you've done no investigation and have spoken with no witnesses regarding it. Now, I will say in one of the voicemails I left with, and one of the voicemails I left with John, was that I think I said, you have nothing to fear of me. I'm not dangerous unless you're not doing your job, and I'm only dangerous in the context that I will hold you accountable for that. And Skylar said he had all the text messages or all the voicemails that had all been forwarded to him. I asked him to listen to him and give me a call back. I don't think I've heard back from him, but I did see him when I did another tour up there. Which, by the way, you might recommend to them that they put up maybe no employees allowed, and maybe even lock the door that goes to the server room where the hub is. That's just a citizen recommendation from something I've observed. I've done nothing of ill intent or anything like that.
And correct me out of my ignorance, my friend. You know, when you go in the front door, where is the server room at?
I don't even know.
I think you gotta go.
Is it upstairs?
You know, I went through the back door, if you will. Nice. If you go in the back parking lot, that's nice. Kind of the front door in my mind.
It's the south. The south, if you know normally.
Yeah, the south. Yeah.
That's actually the front door, but it's in the back.
Okay, so if we're talking the same thing, you go all the way down, you go up the steps.
Yes.
And then somewhere I think you go down the hallway, and maybe it's on the right, and then it's in a closet in the back on the right. Okay. I think.
I'll let them know. You're an IT guy, so you know that.
Yeah, I think that's just good standard operating procedure, but luckily it's me and not some little kid running around, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be somebody trying to do something bad. So anyway, so I left off where you know, I'm waiting to hear back from Skylar, and so at one point, I don't know if I mentioned this, on John Show's voicemail, I said to him, I hope you don't weaponize government against me now. I said, am I now going to get an inspection? And I even made that same kind of joke with Skylar, and I said, you know, I'm just joking, but, you know, am I now going to get an inspection? Wouldn't that be coincidental? And he said, oh, are you blaming him are you accusing him of being whatever? I said, no, I said, I was joking. But now it is, you know, you say I'm not under investigation, but it feels a little investigatory.
You're not.
That
So here's where
but you know, they're saying they're uncomfortable.
Here-
And here's another part. I'll let you go first, but I'd like to get back to the weird.
Go ahead.
So I'm talking to Skyler, and he says, "Well, we're not going to do this anymore." I said, "Does that mean you're going to change your behavior?" And he kind of gives me the kind of feedback is what I interpret. I said, because I've already verified with the police I've done nothing wrong. I don't feel I've done anything wrong. And you're telling me what I did was weird, and that's part of the reason that you're not even going to ask this guy for an apology or even do an investigation if he feels like he did something wrong. And he says, well, what you did was weird. It's weird to be in the garden bed. And I said, you know what's weird to me? I said, for me, in my culture, men dressing up as women and then coming up to me as I enter and exit out of private businesses, asking me for money, that's weird to me. It's strange. And it's weird to me that, you know, some adults feel okay ganging up with other adults to create a slave society where I'm forced to pay for a bunch of stuff I don't want. It's weird to me that I'm forced to pay for the slaughter of thousands of tens of thousands of Ukrainian Christians over there in the Russian war. It really saddens me that I'm forced to pay for incentives for very young girls and jailbirds and terrorists to be human trafficked across our southern border, raped, young 10-year-olds, incentivized to do this, raped, incentivized by our government, our tax monies, come across, get put in a home with a cartel member, 13 or so other young girls being pimped out, 3 times or so a day, that we're all paying for if you're paying taxes. And that's weird to me. It's weird that we have a bunch of people in this country pushing chemical castration of kids, young kids, without parental knowledge and getting away with it. It's weird to me we're putting it, now I need to tie this back to Delhi at some point because Delhi ain't doing all this. But they're certainly telling me that they're going to cite me, most probably cite me if I use the fuck word in public. And so, you know, I had to get that clarified a couple times. I was told at one point that after I was told that I could do it, a different guy told me on the phone that he wasn't sure that you all, after you told me that I could do it, I got the recording, I think I him. After that you all were looking into it with the lawyer to see if you could get me on some way. Anyway, that's my interpretation of what he said. Now, when he called back after checking with the lieutenant, he said that he had misspoken, and I took his word for it. But you know, it's just part of the First Amendment experience. So, you know, I do quiz some of your officers.
It makes me smile.
The 5 tenants, and like, can I do it? But I haven't taken that oath.
Yeah, and you make me smile though. And
I got to ask the next guy that's sworn in, the next new guy, I got to ask him, hey.
You should.
That, and then I got to ask him, have you ever read the state constitution that you just took an oath to? Because, you know,
he'll be coming back to second shift at some point. So yeah, you need to test him a little bit.
I got to test myself sometimes, but you know, I'm not sure I'd pass. But
he actually next week.
But the reality here's what I'm at, Rich.
Yes,
is one, I ain't talked to you in a while, so and I miss talking to you.
Yes, sir.
And 2, what I want to do is make sure, because I know you, Rich knows you. Most of us know you. That there's no issue. But the problem is when people start feeling uncomfortable, like we're asking questions that take it out of context, like you mentioned, it kind of spooks them a little bit. And I don't want that to happen. You know what I mean? You know, you can ask for records all day long, as you know. You can ask for records at zoning, and you know, and I think that we respond pretty fast to you. I mean, you know, because we're transparent as hell, obviously. But what I don't want is for somebody to obviously be in fear for their safety and then something happen. You know what I mean?
Did he say it was in fear with safety?
I didn't speak to him.
Okay. Have you heard anything along those lines?
I was just told that they're starting to feel uncomfortable.
If they had feared for their safety, they would have articulated that to you by now. You would know that by now.
Yeah.
Yep. So they didn't fear for their safety, and
Rich, I'm just having a friendly conversation.
Yeah, I'm just trying to take it all in myself.
You know, because what I don't want to happen is,
So it sounded like
for somebody to swear out an affidavit that you show up multiple occasions, causing them to fear for their safety, and that causes problems.
What's that mean?
It's menacing by stalking, pattern of behavior to cause somebody to feel fear for their safety.
So I can't go up there and video record?
Well, you can go up there and record all you want. You can go up there. I'm not telling you you can't go nowhere.
I called and the lieutenant told me that I could follow him on his route to take pictures of houses that he does inspections.
Yeah.
I want to observe him in the course of his public duty, and I think
Well, you can.
that's my right.
You can.
Well, the only way I can do that is to well, there's a couple ways. I can basically do what you just described as stalking and harassing. I don't think that applies in this context.
Doesn't.
But it's being used as a way to intimidate me, is the way I feel.
Rich,
But I called in, I said, hey, I want to trail this guy. Listen, I didn't just start stalking and trailing him. I let his
you just used that word.
Yeah, I didn't just start doing that. And I never started doing that.
Okay, good.
What I did do is I went to his supervisor, because communications were asked, they weren't asked, they were just said on his part, he can't talk to me. It wasn't even requested that I not talk to him anymore. I just did that out of my own respect. Like, hey, if I'm not going to get feedback, if this is the channel you want. Mm-hmm. And I let him know. I said, hey, he's under investigation. I'm going to follow him after, and you can see the law abiding coming out, after I talk with the police to make sure it's lawful.
Yeah.
So I talked to the police. I said, hey, I want to follow this guy on duty when he's doing inspections. And I first tried to do it more civilly, if you will. Or more,
you're always so
more efficient might be a better word.
Efficient?
More efficient. I tried to request this schedule so that I could just meet him at the inspection site if that was legal. And I gave the intent of what I was doing, which is a good intent. I mean, for y'all to do stuff in hiding and stuff when you're doing it in public, you know, so I was told as long as I'm not interfering with him, I can do that. So I go up and I request the vehicle that he uses. That's a public vehicle, by the way, it's not his private vehicle. At no point did I suggest or did I take any action to follow him after work home, or to, hey, what's his personal phone number, what's his home address. And I think some of that I could legally do as well, I don't know, but that aside, it's not even really in the picture. I'm just saying I haven't done that, I'm not doing that. All I'm doing is trying to observe him in his public duties at his public work. And here's the thing, is his feelings are similar to mine in a lot of contexts.
Okay.
We were both uncomfortable. We both felt the way that you described.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of us felt in fear for our life. If they did, boy, a lot of people would be calling them cowards. there was glass between us. You know, you look at my stance, I'm like, you know, I got the stupid look on my face. This guy ain't harmful.
Here's
and Skyler's coming out yelling and waving, and after that, Skyler's had conversations with me. He's part of the group that you say, we know you, Rich. He ought to know by now I'm not a violent person.
So what I want,
anything like
here's what I want you to understand 100% clear and completely, right? Is that the only reason why I wanted to talk to you is because, one, I know you. Two, we've got a pretty damn good relationship, and you know, I think we do at least. And three, just be careful. Do that for me. This is me calling. I'm doing this for me and you. I'm not doing this because they called and said, hey, I want the police to talk to Rich. That's not the case here at all. I'm just saying to you is just be careful. Just be careful that you don't cause somebody to believe that you're going to cause them harm. I'm not saying you are or not.
See, that's scary, because I go out there exercising First Amendment right of free press.
And you're allowed to.
Because I can remember one of the five is press.
You're allowed.
And this guy feels a certain way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then a cop shows up and he thinks my camera, cell phone, is a gun. And all of a sudden I'm under threat of violence. No, it doesn't work that way, does it?
Rich,
but we might have a video of it happening in a municipality that maybe has about 30,000 citizens in it. I'm just saying that Skyler should have a conversation with this guy to say, hey, this guy's harmless. He does First Amendment audit style stuff. He exercises the right. Listen, John, this guy's got a right to look in the windows, and
he does.
He even told us what we should do. If we want privacy, we should create privacy. That's why we gave you the blinds, John. And here's the thing, we shouldn't discriminate against him because he does weird actions. But Skyler seems to want to discriminate against my rights. and retaliate. And at this point, it looks like he wants to use the local PD to assist him in his intimidation of my right to go up there. Because, hey, Rich, you need to be careful, is the message.
So
did you call John and talk to John and say, hey, man,
hey Rich,
he didn't feel comfortable, and you need to be
Rich,
careful, John.
Hold on a minute.
That's just one picture. I apologize.
We're taking this totally the wrong direction.
I apologize.
No,
I'm going to reset.
No, totally the wrong direction.
I stand by what I said, but
okay.
maybe
You 100%. You can go up there, film. You can go up there, look in the windows. You can go up there and walk through the building. You can go up there and talk to public employees. You can see what public employees are doing. There's nothing wrong with any of that stuff. I'm not telling you that there is. You can do that all day long. But the minute, like if you showed up where Rich was, multiple different occasions, and he felt threatened by your actions for some reason that he had to articulate, that becomes crosses the line to obviously cause him fear. I'm not even saying we're not anywhere near that. I'm just saying to you that I know you well enough that you and I can have frank conversations and just to make sure that you're doing everything the right way. I mean, Rich, correct me if I'm wrong here. There is no allegations that somebody's going to be criminally charged. Nobody's weaponizing the local police department. There's nobody doing anything, and you're certainly allowed to be up there. I just want you to know that, and I think you do know because you're a smart man, that sometimes people will get scared for and it's not anybody's intention to get scared. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, they even make it up. I'd be interested to find out what was the triggering thing, the deciding factor that tilted him to where, I guess, is he saying he's scared?
I think the words are uncomfortable.
Okay, because you used the word scared a couple times.
Yeah, I'm using it as an example.
And scared is a big difference. Are either of you guys packing heat right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you pulled out your gun right now and started blasting holes in my head, nobody's saying you would do that, but the fact that I'm even talking about it is a little weird and radical. And so I'm going to stop talking about that, but I will say and use it only as a context that when nothing of the sort happened with regards to any kind of violence, but you're talking about it and giving me warnings about it and advice about it and things like that, when you and I know it ain't even in the possibility of reality, unless something weird is happening.
I got it.
And when it starts with Skylar suggesting I need to change my behavior because it's weird, it's weird to me just in terms of statistical numbers that we don't have any black people on the board. We don't have any Indian people. It don't seem to be Asian people. I don't know. Now Kamala Harris, Kamala Lala, I call her, claims to be black, but I don't see the evidence that she is black. From what I understand, she's not black. So, I can tell you people feel a lot of ways. Using standards that I'm almost interpreting you're saying, I could say even though, just you having that gun makes me feel threatened. Now it doesn't, but I could say I feel that way.
Sure.
Some people do feel that way. And they're taking away gun rights.
Yeah.
But shall not be infringed now means to infringe in those places. Freedom of association means government's going to force me through threats and violence to associate with them, right?
Speaking of, have you met our newest clerk? She's actually part Indian. She speaks fluent Spanish.
What's her name?
Yeah, Selma.
Selma, you met her.
Yeah.
Very smart young lady.
Yeah, she was very
respectful.
Respectful, yes.
Yeah, very, very sharp kid.
She may say the same of me, by the way. Did you ask her about me?
I don't know, but I will.
Okay.
I will.
I only spoke with her, I think, on the phone once. I ran into her for maybe 2 minutes in the lobby, and I don't even know what it's about anymore.
But here's what I want to end this conversation. I'm not saying we're ending the conversation.
Right.
My thing is that when I was having a conversation with Skylar the other day, he actually enjoyed your conversation, by the way. He told me he did.
Was that on recorded line?
No, it was not.
Oh, come on.
It was
you knew I was going to want it.
Yeah.
It's personal.
It was personal.
It's about me?
In person.
Oh. Yeah, body cam.
No.
Come on. You get a body cam. You could.
Next time I'll bring one back.
You could say, you probably don't have one either. You could tell any of those guys, hey, come on, any of those guys or gals, hey, come along. I need this on cam. Rich is going to love this.
Yeah, so, the context of the conversation, just so you know, was I always offer, hey, I'll talk to Rich, because you make me smile, whether you believe it or not.
Last time I told all the administrator people,
Yeah.
I said, you gotta listen to this recording, cause Jeff and Lieutenant Rich did master class.
Yeah.
I think I put that in writing.
Did you?
Yeah, I think I did, and how many of them you actually think? Did anyone request video? No.
No, probably didn't.
I
But
bet Scott
at the end of the
would be
day,
better off
what, anytime there's consternation, that's a big word.
with it. Yeah.
Can you spell that, Rich?
No.
Okay. You know,
I'm not even sure I know the meaning.
it's uncomfortability is what it means.
Okay.
Anytime there's, you know.
I'm gonna start using that.
Yeah,
I feel consternated.
Yes, not
This is-
constipated. It's
Now, if I say
constipation.
consternated, do you think that they're gonna call that weird? Do you think that
No,
they're gonna
I
like
wouldn't.
me less because I'm using the word
No.
They're
consternated?
gonna be confused, looking at you like, what do
Folks
you mean?
like you, good people like this are gonna laugh at that word.
You make me laugh.
John, man, I hope you don't crap his pants if I use that word.
Then he wouldn't be
If
constipated.
I
He'd
said
be constipated.
exactly, it would be so ironic. It would be hilarious.
But what I'm telling you here, Bud, is
Yes, sir.
just so we're 100% clear, and Rich is talking a lot today, if you couldn't tell.
Okay.
Well, he's
So what I want to make sure that we're clear here is I'm not telling you that you can't do anything that you've been doing. All I'm saying to you is I look at this as friend to friend more than anything. I'm not even looking at this as the police chief or police officer or as anything else. But what because I know what your meaning is, and I agree that you're harmless. You're a First Amendment guy. And you make me smile every time you test one of our guys. By the way, you know. But what happens sometimes is it's not your fault that somebody takes you out of context, and I know that.
Right on.
But the reality is people that when you confront people, like sometimes you start asking about what they're driving and where they come and what doors they leave and yada yada yada. You know, one could say, well, he's a public employee, he should tell me those things. But what also one could say is that, man, I don't really know this guy. What's he up to? And I know what you're up to, right? And I'll talk to John and I'll tell him what you're up to.
I told him what I was up to.
But-
On recorded line, on voicemail, like you want somebody like, if I was gonna threaten someone illegally,
Is there a legal way to threaten somebody?
and I didn't want to get caught, I wouldn't call their voicemail from my home phone line without any kind of trace suppression and say, hey man, I'm gonna kill you. I would never do that. Now, I'd never threaten anyone like that anyway.
Yeah.
So
At least not today.
the intent of crime for a reasonable thinking person would be like, I know where he lives, I know his home address, I know his criminal record through you, I can request it. I do know all these things about him. I know when he came up, he's waving friendly, and I know he didn't seem to get upset in any way, shape, or form until I asked him until I was barking orders, and he asked me the same question 4 times, which I eventually said yes.
Kurt. Who's Kurt?
And so, I would disagree with that. What you're describing fits in this context. Here's the real context: is there's entitled government workers, in essence, living off what I describe as semi-welfare, being paid by customers under threats and violence against their free will or through collusion of some sort, at least in part, and we the people have been silent for so long that most of us have forgotten basic rights. And the duties of the patriot civilian is to attend your local public meetings. And what do we have? 0.1 attendance rate? Maybe, I'm just going off the top of my head.
There's not a whole lot of people.
We have 30,000, I'll just cut that in half and say 15,000 adults off the top of my head. Of that, maybe 30 folks are coming to the meetings.
If that.
And I'm a shortcomer myself. I don't come to a lot of those meetings just when I have some things I want to articulate or so, or, I'll come randomly sometimes. But even someone with the consciousness that I have, falling short like that and things, is just a reflection of our society. And people have forgotten basic rights, that the records you hold are our records.
They are.
You're custodians of those records. And when I'm told from a public employee that you may cite me if I exercise a First Amendment right, that you may treat me differently if my actions are viewed as weird. What else? Y'all had called me for a wellness check when I was spending roughly $500 a month for paid professionals to make sure that I was well, just for the insurance, not counting any deductibles and stuff. Y'all have done some weird things, and his reaction is a weird one. It's a little odd in that it can be normal as well, and that seems contradictory, but it's really both at the same time. And people need to be getting more involved. So here's what I said. I told him, I said, hey, you request an apology from him. Let me know, because I still don't know to this day whether he's wants to apologize to me and has accepted my apology, but doesn't want to apologize, or has rejected both ideas. I don't know. It's been over a week now. I still don't know. They know where I stand. I've apologized. Mm-hmm. I've been told, even in the face of you all rejecting my apology, because by default it's a rejection, in the face of you all rejecting my apology, I will not withdraw my apology. I've owned up to my shortcoming in the face of this individual, and now he's weaponized. This is a weaponization, in my opinion,
so that's one
of the PD against me to intimidate me on doing things.
If I didn't have a relationship with you,
because you said it's going to be 100% clear, and it's very unclear now to me, because I requested the record, the lady gave it to me, no problem.
So
here's
what I'll tell you.
Up there now.
Yeah, here's what I'll tell you.
And I want to go in the parking lot and wait for him.
Yeah, Rich, here's what I'll tell you.
Until he's driving the Delhi Township vehicle I own.
Uh-huh.
And then when he rides it I assume he'd be riding it, I'll be there during business hours, 8 to 5.
But here
now I'm going to reconsider, given that you're asking me a request as a friend.
Hold on a second now.
In a chief's capacity.
You're making me smile. Here's what I'm gonna tell you is that if I didn't have a relationship like I do with you,
yep,
I wouldn't even call you to talk to you.
Right on. How did it all start?
Because we've communicated, we've talked about a lot of things, and we treated each other with respect.
Because I told that to him, I think on voice greeting, mm-hmm, that my intent is a peaceful resolution, and I believe that one of the first steps toward peaceful resolution is an open dialogue. So you and I agree. Do you agree with that statement I just made?
Yeah.
Now, what did Skyler say? He said, no, I don't want open dialogue between you and him. I'm shutting that down. I'm not going to let him communicate with you. And I say, okay, then let me. And Skyler's a busy guy, right? Mm-hmm. So, it took him 3-4 days or something, business days, not counting weekend, I don't think, to give me the call back on behalf of his employee that I've been leaving messages with, wondering why he ain't giving me a call back. Now it's going on a week or more of him trying to get back to me, let me know if the guy accepted my apology. Now I told him, I said, if the guy sends me an apology in writing, I withdraw the public records request. I'll trust that you said he was a good employee, and he showed good faith in apologizing. I'll trust he's a good guy, and I'll stop investigating. Now let me ask you this: if you're someone that was scared or uncomfortable, and you did the things I described, assuming the things I described are true, he got aggravated, he got aggressive, he was barking commands, and he dodged my question until it was asked 4 times. In retrospect, would you say, yeah, there's some room for an apology there, and we're not going to have to pass public records by our lawyer, save the township some money on top of it? I'm all in on that.
Oh yeah, you are.
Now it gets to be an ethical question. If John feels that he really didn't do the wrong thing in retrospect, he felt aggressiveness was an appropriate response, or maybe he didn't feel he was aggressive or something. I understand if he wants to stand by his value system, if that's what he comes out to communicate. But at this point, I'm on default. He rejected by not returning through Skyler thus far. Mm-hmm. And that's, I just feel that, that's bad in any relationship. But when it's public servant, private tax victim,
I knew that was coming.
That's real bad. Because you already know that my stance on taxation, extortion via coercion results in slave labor.
Yeah, I've heard that once or twice.
What's slave labor? You know that whole story.
I've heard that once or twice from you.
Yep. Logic and facts, logic and data. So the 100% clearness is that I can go up there, I can wait for him, I can follow him, I can record him without interfering in his actions. I can do it multiple times. But if it somehow, what is it, comes across as menacing, because I remember I was once in the recorded room way back when, remember when I was up at the Ohio Fire Department? Remember that? And I said, what crime did you all suspect me of? And in the recording, you all said menacing. I was like, what? I said, what is menacing? And he said, if you feel like yada, yada, yada. I think it was like, if you feel like you're in threat of, I'm just guessing on that. But he said, if you feel like, I said, well, then I feel that way right now. He said, no, it doesn't work that way. He said, who do you think determines whether it's menacing or not? I said, I don't know, the jury? No. The judge? No. The officer on site? No. You all said that the supposed victim, the suspected victim, determines whether it's menacing or not. So why can I not say he's menacing right now? Because it's radical weirdness that has no place in our society. It doesn't make any sense. I think it was exposed that day.
You made him smile.
I think you know how radical thinking it is right now.
You made him smile.
And because if that's the case, I mean, there is a part of me where I probably felt threatened up there.
Yeah.
You know, you look at this guy's expression. I would say if he was coming around the corner the way he was looking, if there wasn't glass between us, it'd have been different. But then you had Skylar coming out with the, you know, the big belly and the laugh and smile and all that. And you know, he's doing his thing and he's saying hi. And first question.
I'll tell you think he has a big belly.
First question I asked him is, can I be here doing this? And he's like,
Absolutely.
yes. And so, is it that you're just asking me as a friend not to do that I just described?
No, I'm not. I'm not asking you to not do any of that stuff. What I'm saying to you is when you start asking questions about, and I didn't know what the whole context was, so that's why you got to bear with me. I called you yesterday without, just to say, hey, we'll just have a conversation.
You explain stuff better.
You explain stuff better, and
Not
after I'm
knowing
hearing the context from you, I'm okay.
Yesterday, I don't remember having that conversation.
No, when I called you, didn't say, come up here and see me.
Before.
No. Before today.
Before
you
today.
and I are having a conversation. You were explaining what you did and what your side of it.
We
Because
understand
there's
the
two
context.
sides to every story, as you know. I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I'm not. All I'm saying to you is, one, I miss you a little bit, my friend.
Right on.
And two, is that anytime I just want to make sure that we're on the same page because we know each other well enough. Not.
So can you make it 100% clear for me then?
What do you want me to do?
Make it 100% clear.
Go ahead, Rich.
What's going to get me in trouble? What action is it that would get me in trouble?
I'm gonna go all legal on you now, bud.
Okay.
If you ask or behave in a certain way that would lead a reasonable person to believe that they're in fear for their safety, then it's against the law. I know you're not going to do that.
Now you're going to get me to have to look up case law and stuff like what's a reasonable, because y'all are.
Good luck on finding that answer, by the way.
Y'all are unreasonable a lot. It's unreasonable stuff some of y'all
Me?
are doing.
Me? I'm not unreasonable. I thought we were
I'd
buds.
have to think about that a little bit more. I think it would have been a lot more reasonable for you. When you went to meet Skylar, was that just by chance and the conversation came up, or did you have an appointment with him talking about something?
I gotta be honest with you, I don't even remember.
Okay.
Because we talk a lot. I don't, you know.
And then what did he communicate to you that he was concerned?
The other guy, John, was concerned for his he's getting a little nervous about some of the questions you were asking.
So at this point, did y'all talk to John?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No, but not yet.
Okay.
Again, since we're having this conversation today, hearing what your side of it is, I am fine.
It's changing the dynamic.
That's changing it. I can't. If I only go by one side of what I'm hearing, my friend, we can't. I don't operate that way.
Didn't you talk to Lieutenant Rich about this before today?
No, I just told him you were coming up to.
I was off.
He was-
Today's my first day in.
He was in
He said
Utah.
you're coming up at 1 o'clock to talk.
He was in Utah, just in 100-degree weather, looking at canyons and shit. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. At the end of the day, you know, I don't want you to misconstrue anything because you know me. I think you know me well enough by now that I'm gonna tell you what I'm thinking.
And what are you asking me as a friend? Cause I respect our friendship.
I'm
and
confused now.
Earlier you said you're asking me to do something or not do something as a friend.
No, all I'm saying to you is just know, I don't even know how I can reword it again. Rich, what am I missing here?
So I guess
What do you think would provide extra protection for me in that situation? Do you think if I took a sign and said, listen, motherfucker, I'm peaceful, I'm lawful, and I'm not dangerous.
Here's what I'm gonna do.
And got rid of the listen, motherfucker part. Do you think that would help if I just said, just a sign that said peaceful and lawful?
So here's what I'm gonna do.
And this help, or maybe get on my shirt?
That'd be funny as shit, by the way.
right,
Maybe,
I'm peaceful.
maybe you could have an officer, even yourself, whoever, Skylar, I don't care who it is, some township person, meet up and let me talk to the guy and say, hey man, how do you feel about that situation? Cause I felt you were a little aggressive and I thought you were barking orders at me and I felt this way and that way and the other way, and have a man-to-man face talk. It's even embarrassing that we have to have a third party moderator.
So why don't I do this?
But that would be the closest thing to just having a man-to-man. It's kind of like that lawyer crybaby.
Which one?
The one in the public meeting where I went up and I said, hey, is that a public phone? And he said, Jeff, can you get him away from me? He's asking me questions.
Hey, you know what?
And then you told me to get away from him. And I said, those are the type of people that need police, right there. I said, he couldn't even talk to me man-to-man.
So what is your request?
I want to know where he stands. Is this a Skylar thing or is this a John thing? If John feels that way, then I'd have to make a reaction to it. I feel that it would be hard for him, in retrospect, as a man that he was described to me as by Skylar and by the admin up there. I'm embarrassed. I forgot her name. Lori. That he's a man of integrity that they described, that
I don't know.
That he wouldn't want to apologize.
But I gotta be honest, I don't really know the guy.
I mean, I don't want his apology if it's gonna be, under duress or anything like that. He should have already apologized to me like I did, just as a human being. He can't say, the only thing he can say is that he either felt he didn't earned, me as an employee, if I'm in that situation, what's really the right thing to do? And maybe John did this. I'd have been going to Skylar and saying, this guy's reached out to me.
Tony.
Again. Have you gotten back to him? Day 3, this guy's reached out to me again. Have you gotten back to him? He's saying he's looking for a call back.
Why don't I do this? I'll tell Skylar you and I had a conversation, that you're requesting a sit-down conversation with John so you can clear the air.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah. I never carry any traditional weapon in the sense that, a pen's a weapon. I carry pens. But I never...
You still got the pen I gave you?
I never carry a pen. I never carry a knife.
You got
So,
You got the pen I gave you the last time you were here?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure. I probably do on my desk.
Oh, man.
I'd have to look at it. I bet I do on my desk.
That hurts, bud.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, I've seen it happen before where people feel a certain way when the other person's done 100% legal. It's happening all the time.
It does.
All the time.
I promise it does.
When I get this reaction, I did a little bit of investigation on the fire department. They were picking up bottles using department resources to sell. And so I got a little information. I was happy with the response.
Good.
Seemed like maybe there was a little something there, but not enough that I wanted to dig in, right? And it was charity based, so I don't want to
Speaking of, you need a water?
I don't want to take it. Yeah, I could use water.
I don't want you to get dehydrated riding that bike home.
Oh, I was from the beginning, but
If
my smile's looking crooked, well, it's because I'm so thirsty.
You want to get him a bottle of water?
I'll get you water.
Thank you, Lieutenant. I appreciate it.
So what else is going on, bud?
So here's the other good story. Is I spoke with the corporal, and this was a bone and actual issue at first, and then at some point I probably did the one more question 3 times, and so the last question was, the can you name the 5, whatever core values of the First Amendment?
Sure.
And he said, I'm not going to answer that question. So, conversation, whatever, went somewhere else. And at some point, I said, he said, I'll answer any question you have. I said, well, then I'm asking you the question that I just asked you. And he said, I'm not going to answer that question.
Because he didn't know the answer.
I said, you just told me, you'd answer any question. And he says, no, I didn't. I said, you know, this is being recorded, right? And I gotta tell you, that stuff goes viral on the internet.
Yeah.
I got the video. I don't post that stuff, right? I haven't to this point posted that stuff. But your officer is labeling me as a YouTuber. You know, I posted one, maybe 2 videos. So you guys are encouraging me. And I'm trying to do what I think is right. You know, some of the things I do, I honestly think I could have a couple lawsuits against the township and win. I really do. I don't do it. What I'm really doing in essence is saving y'all from future lawsuits doing the wrong thing. And I remember last time we sat down, one of the things I remember is that you personally asked me to hold you, and as I understand it, your department accountable.
Amen.
By default, so you know.
I firmly believe that.
So how many folks have you asked that of?
How many have I asked that of?
That aren't employed by the township.
Well, I don't know. I gotta be honest with you. I mean, I wouldn't have a count, but I mean, anytime I talk to somebody displeased with our service, I tell them that all the time.
Yeah, and I really even haven't accepted that. I just, you know, when I happen to come by it, you know, I might do a little peeking or something. Like, you know, I kept driving by Delhi where y'all are like giving special priority to watch the red lights, right?
Yeah.
Did we talk about this already?
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked about it last time you were here.
And then did we talk about how I saw 2 more times in different places? Looks like your officers more than likely on their personal cell phones.
Yeah, we talked about that too.
Okay.
Because I think you asked for our policy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we talked that recently.
You gave him Rich gave you the copy of the policy.
You think maybe one of your officers wants to escort me around while I'm waiting for John up in the parking lot, and then while I follow John around while he's on duty?
Rich will do it for you.
Because there's some officers, they know, like you said, you know, it's not just you two that know. There's others that know, like, and some people, you know, like I know, some people are just unreasonably scared and concerned.
I don't. Here's what I'll tell you, Rich, is that if you came into the nice ladies in the office and you said, you know, what car does Jeff drive and what door does he leave in and blah, blah, blah.
Well, can you just clarify, when you say that, can you just say it in full context? What public vehicle car does Jeff drive? Because when you say it, it sounds like he's asking for his personal vehicle, and I'm not doing that. And maybe that's my bias. At best, it's unclear. So if you just clarify and say, you know, he's asking it for his public vehicle information.
Yeah. You know what I would do? I would smile and walk out and tell you myself. I mean,
you could even say Rich is asking for some information about his own vehicle that he owns in part.
Fair enough.
Because I don't own, I mean, there's maybe an argument to be made indirectly, you know, I pay taxes that you end up using to buy the car you drive home. But I'm not even making that argument. I'm just saying some weird guy might, but I'm not. I'm asking for public information of the public vehicles.
Why do I gotta be a weird guy?
I'm just saying, I gave the intent of why I'm doing it, both to the guy who's still, I guess, concerned or uncomfortable, and his supervisor, and Rich, local lieutenant guy, and all of you all know explicitly my articulated intent. I'm investigating you in essence because I'm a concerned citizen. You work for the public. Your stuff ought to be to, you know, I'm willing to not follow you around if you just give me your public schedule. You don't have a public schedule. So, you know, I asked the local police, hey, can I follow this guy around because I want to record him in his public duty? I don't know, guy might be going there and like, you know, I don't think y'all would ever plan evidence, but certainly people in your industry do plan evidence. That's been proven. I don't know about these inspectors. I haven't had a lot of exposure to them. Is it possible they're human beings where they plan evidence? Possible. How do I know they don't plan evidence? Could kind of observe them. I can tell you this. This is a great story. So, you know, I think I got some lunch and I went over there and gosh, tell me if I'm
Was it
stalking.
McDonald's?
No, I think I got the Wendy's is the best.
Okay.
McDonald's was a public incident with, you know, McDonald's called the police on me because I wouldn't get out of their line because they shorted me and told me it was policy. They shorted me, told me it was policy.
Yeah.
I said, oh, that's a new policy? Yes. Can I speak with your supervisor? Slam. Then she comes back, can you pull around? I said, can I speak with your supervisor? Slam. supervisor comes. I'm like, I've been waiting for supervisor. He's like, can you pull around? I said, no, it's like the, slam. I eventually get some guy who says, you need to pull around. I said, nah. He said, I'm going to call the police. Or no, the other lady was going to call the police. I said, that's fine. I said, I feel I'm in now a crime scene, and it would be wrong for me to leave the crime scene, right? So 2 cars behind me are pulling around me, leaving the crime scene. Maybe it's just isolated to where I am.
Sure.
So he says, you need to pull around. I said, no, I'm not going to run from the police. I'll wait till they get here. I said, the only way you're going to get me out of here right now, I say, is if you tell me you're trespassing me, I will leave the property. And you tell the police that I didn't run from them. So I got home, I called him up, and yeah, so I don't know how I got on that, but that went to the First Amendment because I wanted to say fuck McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to do, and then I wanted to go to the press, which is mostly sold out. And y'all verified at first that you would probably cite me if I did that. And then even when you said I could do it, y'all gave me some instruction that you probably shouldn't do it because there's kids up there. So that's all.
Is that reasonable though?
I got mixed feelings on it, to be honest.
No.
I think if it's kids old enough to where you have to describe that to them and to explain that fuck word,
yeah,
that they're old enough where you can explain to them how major corporations and municipalities screw over the common person in ways that create a slave society instead of a free society. There's reasons why most houses in my neighborhood need repairs. When their grass was drying out, they couldn't water their grass. Some of it they're old and stuff. Some of it is, meanwhile, we got one of the nicer buildings up there on Delhi Pike. It's gorgeous. I mean, it's huge, spacious, creates a good positive vibe, but it costs money, right? It costs money and stuff. And now we're competing, I guess. Now we're in the swimming pool business, and but all that aside.
Are you a swimmer?
Yep. Yeah, I like swimming.
I swim like a rock.
Yeah, I get a CRC membership for what it costs me all year long. I can get in Delhi for 1 month, so I do the CRC thing.
Makes sense.
But I'll try to make the sign that says peaceful and lawful, and I'll listen to this one, some of it again, and see if maybe there's something that you're trying to want me to do as a friend that maybe you just can't say on the record.
Maybe you talk to Skylar.
I'll talk to Scott.
Because I went up and I got some food the other day, and I don't know if I went or I think I ended up going over there, maybe eating my meal in the parking lot, and because I see cops in a lot of times who try and get you for something like harassment or something. Not in Delhi, I'm just saying I've seen the videos, and I thought there was something in the law where like y'all can't be victims of harassment or something like that.
I mean, it depends on the company.
I don't know a appellate court anyway that would uphold saying that I was trying to stalk this guy when I pre-articulated my intent to 3 different officials, including himself, where I was friendly at the time and where I wasn't friendly, which I admitted. I apologized where I was curt.
Good for you.
Where the guy didn't accept my apology and he didn't apologize himself. And even through Skylar didn't apologize, he could have initiated that. I don't think that's all this stuff would say, man, if anything, this looks bad on Delhi.
Let me ask you.
Like you said, none of that's my fault or anything. This guy needs maybe a reprimand, if anything.
Let me ask you this.
Why is this guy? You ever see Roadhouse?
I did. Yeah.
Where the guy comes in, the bouncer, who's his name?
Patrick Swayze?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I don't remember the exact phrase, but he says, you be friendly. Oh, what if they do this? Be friendly. When do we get to not be friendly or whatever? He says, I'll let you know. That's the message we need to send John. Like, public employee, he's doing something weird, be friendly. He's doing something, you feel like he might be threatened, but it's a gray area, be friendly, call the police. Tell someone else to call the police. You feel like, after the fact that he shouldn't be contacting you, but your boss is telling you that he has that legal right to do it, be friendly. You feel like you did something wrong, you be friendly, apologize. And I know that I've had my times where I haven't been friendly, I've downright been embarrassed. Now I think my reaction is justified, but even with justification, there's sometimes better ways. I don't think it was justified that day. I think I was.
I've never seen you that way.
And yep. So
why is that?
Maybe you don't watch the videos.
No, I mean, as far as one-on-one, you've never acted that way to me. I mean,
well, you generally get what I get. I give kind of what I get to an extent, and in this particular case, the guy, when I asked for a public record, he told me that when I prove it to him in writing, he'll do it. And I said, well, it's both in your policy and in law. He's like, prove it and I'll do it. And it escalated from there.
So how are we doing as far as...
And remember what happened that day, in my view. That public employee lied to try to frame me for a crime, a serious crime that I didn't commit. And, I don't have evidence of that. I would have evidence if y'all did what I requested you do, which is have all your lines recorded for all people calling in. And y'all didn't do that, so that's okay. I don't make that decision and stuff, but I would have that evidence. He would have that evidence if he was right. But it's you're very respectful. I have respect for you. I have respect for Lieutenant Rich. I have less respect for you as a chief in that position. Not compared to other chiefs. But I have less respect for people that work off extorted funds via coercion that result in slave labor.
I knew that was coming.
And I gotta tell you, because I'm no hero, I'll tell you that, but I'll tell you, I used to make money off of people who were extorted via coercion, resulted in slave labor, and I pay my own guilt conscience for that. I profit from it as well. But I should eat more healthy, but I don't in denial say I'm eating healthy, because I'm not. I shouldn't have lived off extorted funds via coercion that result in slave labor, but I did do it. But I'm not going to lie and say I was right to do that.
What are you doing now? You doing anything right now?
I trade stocks, and I've been trying to fix up my house a lot. Got a new floor.
Did you?
New painted cabinets in the kitchen. Did it all myself with the help of some family and friends.
Nice.
All new trim work is what I'm working on now. A lot of work. Yep.
That's fun stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Yep.
But what kind of grade do you give us now, police department wise?
Yeah, I'd say
Oh, come on! It shouldn't be that hard.
That's a hard one. It really is. It really is. Some folks would say, are y'all even legitimate? As a police department, assuming like compared to other police departments, I'd say y'all are like A-, I guess.
No, that's good.
I guess an A-.
I'm a perfectionist guy though. A- is not.
You'd have to realize I don't have a lot of experience with police outside of here, other than Green Township a little bit, which is all secondary.
Yeah?
And you've heard my stories of that, right?
I
had my big guy, real heavy set dude that I used to do martial arts with. And he had ordered and was eating a cheeseburger, sat down up in Wendy's on Glenway, and eating his cheeseburger while he's sitting down. The police come in. The bank next door was robbed. Police came in, ended up coming over to him for some reason, put him against the wall, pat him down. They kicked his foot. They said, spread your legs. He spread his legs. They kicked his leg. It didn't move. He said, stop resisting. This guy's easily 300 pounds, maybe more. I mean, he didn't move now because he's resisting. So, I mean, that leads to violence a lot of times. You look at the videos, evidence shows that that's the trigger to violence. Stop resisting. So then they get his legs. They take his keys out of his pocket, go to his car, open his car, search it, come back, put his keys back in his pocket, let him go and say, you're okay. That's major violations. That's something. Now, if we touch on the First Amendment for me, because I didn't want to touch on that, let's put it in context that we have a federal court that has said that our federal government has colluded with social media companies to illegally, against First Amendment, suppress freedom of speech. Systematically. We have a poll, with some respect, that says that had the Hunter Biden story not been buried by these organizations, that based on the numbers, Trump would have won that. And so we have election rigging and stealing, in my opinion, currently going on. Anti-First Amendment by design from the very top. They want to censor us. The guy in California wants to make satire illegal. Folks in D.C. want to make censorship illegal. It's already happening. We already see them arresting people that have exercised free speech. Somebody put out a mime saying, hey, vote for Hillary by texting this number. Somebody that's liberal did the same thing with Trump. One got arrested, one didn't. The prosecutions against Trump that are going on, a lot of them getting overturned, look very political. We're in times in this country, if we're honest with ourselves, that are very scary. Average citizen ought to be scary. Every citizen that's employed, that's working for government, ought to have your perspective. Hey, come audit me. Hey, let's have a campaign to try and get people to show up for our public meetings. Hey, let's not count on rich gauges to go door to door and say, hey, can you show up for the public meeting? Let's get some people involved. The only time I see people showing up in mass is when you are doing some kind of like police ceremony, fire ceremony. Now, after I went up and ate my lunch, I'm bouncing around a little bit. After I went up and ate my lunch, I think I did so, in that parking lot. I think that's when I did the tour. I walked through. I went to the fire department, and they're doing something with the fire truck right in the little, parking lot area where they pull in.
What was this, yesterday?
Yesterday, 2 days ago. And I walked up to the grass part. I didn't go in the cement part at that point. When I did, it's a sidewalk, public sidewalk. And I was just watching them. They were doing some kind of maintenance and stuff. It's kind of cool. It's pretty neat to watch. And one of the guys came up and, said something like, what are you doing, or can I help you, or whatever. I said, I just wanted to observe. He said, that's cool. And then, he said, I'm so-and-so. I said, I'm Rich. I guess it might have been Alex, but I have no idea. And let me watch him. I could tell one of the guys was kind of self-conscious, that kind of thing, which is fine. That's fine. And they were all cool and everything. And then later on, I asked one of them, I said, is that the new truck? And he said, no. And we had like a 10-second conversation. And I went around, I sat on the bench on the other side.
So was there a guy with my name on his shirt?
A- all around. I mean, they did a great job. It's hard to get an A+ from me, I'll tell you that.
No, was there a fireman with my name was there yesterday?
I didn't see him.
I bet she was. My son's a fireman.
Okay, awesome.
If you ever see him, you gotta mess with him a little bit for me.
They were all nice guys. And, completely different experience. So later on, I called this lady Joy up at the township, because she's on vacation for a couple of weeks, and I did dive into the fire thing a little bit deeper now that I think about it. So, I was trying to figure out how they get away with not having a permit when other people that have those types of things have to pay for a permit. How's it work? I'm just trying to figure it out. So I got, they said, you got to talk to Joy. She's on vacation. Call her back later. So she had been back for a week. I called her, and I don't know what was going on with her that day. Must have had a really bad day, but, she's saying, what are you trying to set up? And I'm saying, no, I just have a couple of questions I want to get answered. She said, well, I could send you to Tony. Now remember, Tony got the same instruction John got. Tony's not allowed to talk to me, right? So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going back to
Skylar.
I'm going back to Skylar now. So I talked to Joyce. She's like, so she didn't pick up first time. I said, listen, all I'm asking are two basic questions. Because she's saying we don't have permits like that. Not that she knows of. I said, well, I was told that you do, and they cost $100. I said, I'm trying to find out, do you have $100 permit? And what are the requirements to get one? And she said, well, who's calling? I said, I'll give my name Joy today. Okay. That's a little weird. A little over the top. That ain't nobody, like, I'm not stalking or anything like that. It's just what came to mind, right? And I like the name Joy, right? Joy to the world type of thing.
Sure.
And in today's society, I really could be Joy, right?
Could.
I mean, you talk about today's society is weird. If you're not weird in today's society, that's weird. So anyway.
I think you just called me weird.
So.
Did you just call me weird?
So this is great. So Joy says, I don't know what's going on, but I got something like urgent or emergency going on. I gotta go. Click, and hangs up on me. So I'm like, wow, this is great.
Oh,
so I'm like, that wouldn't even I wouldn't complain on or anything like that. And I'm not complaining now. I'm like,
you're fine.
I took her legit. She probably had a bad day. I mean, that shouldn't happen. But here's the thing. Here's when those things happen is that, it sounds like I just got something like a reoccurring event or something, but that aside, that's the thing is when it's reoccurring, right? That's when you have, so the guy that denied me public records request, I get file. And it turns out, well, he was almost fired in the past. So then, when we talk to John, or if I don't get to talk to him, somebody talks to him, we're like, listen, this Rich Gage's guy has been doing this, on and off a couple of years now. Somebody else said they felt threatened by him at one point, but it turns out that guy was breaking the law by rejecting his public records request. On top of that, he's really rude. He got a file, something in his file, and he'd almost been fired in the past, so we know he's a trouble guy anyway, or he had been in the past. I said, this guy also did this. Sometimes he's helpful. So, that's probably what he's going to do with you. I even told Skylar if he's got a clean file, I'll probably, consider what he said, and I may not even do an investigation. But now I gotta say, I feel both threatened and encouraged by this conversation to go and complete the investigation, do it right, you know what I mean? But
please don't take this conversation wrong.
I think I'm even legally allowed to wear a uniform that's similar to that, but not that uniform, and trail around. But I wouldn't do that. But what if I follow them around with peace and love, lawful and peaceful, and a button that said something like inspector of inspectors. Then you see that, right? And he'll be in court, and he'll be looking at the judge, and he'll be looking at the jury, and he'll be saying, honestly, folks, when I saw the button that said inspector of inspectors, I felt like he was going to take it, bend the pin out, and stick me in the butt with the pin. That's how I felt.
Sorry.
Which I would never do, right? That's hilarious. That's satire of some kind. That's joking. And John publicly requests us to never listen to it, and then uses that like, oh, he threatened me with the pin in the butt thing. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's radical, but this whole conversation has been a little bit odd and radical. You probably look at some of the things I say and like, man, he's kind of weird. And
all of our conversations are like this, Bob.
But when Skylar said I was weird, or that he said I wasn't weird, that action was weird. If you listen to mainstream media today, 90% of media is controlled by one entity at the very top. Structurally, legally, they're all connected. They came out in unison in a campaign effort to call J.D. Vance weird when he became the VP. And so everywhere it's like, oh, they're weird. The Republicans are weird. And it just was interesting, and I don't know if it was subliminal or coincidental, that Skylar used that was weird thing. And so, yeah.
Speaking of, you said we the people before. Did you ever go to those meetings at all?
I'm not sure. I hear it referred to, I don't see it as kind of different groups that are not necessarily connected. I don't know that group. I know sometimes some of the First Amendment auditors refer to us as we the people.
Because that's what that organization is called that meets at the farm, I think, isn't it?
I think I use it in a little bit more vague, generic text. Yeah. More in the text of the founding documents, the way they used it, we the people.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, you made my day today.
Yeah, it was good. I really appreciate it. It was fun.
All right.
Your officers. I think they were some of the best.
Thank you.
I really do. And even the best need. I remember I used to do martial arts, right?
Yeah.
And you do whatever you did, like, oh, I did this, and then the instructor would come up and go, and you'd be like, man, he just barely moved you, right? That perfection. So there's always room for improvement.
Always.
But what's really scary is, in context, y'all are one of the best in one of the worst industries, which is an industry that is questionable constitutionally, number one. Some people have made the case that only the sheriffs are truly constitutional. I don't say that I make that case, I'm just saying it's out there. But two, anybody that is coerced in some way or shape to pay for services and they're a recipient of that, I think that is very concerning. So that's why, I may tell you that I think you're a great human being, but in your capacity as a extortion profiteer,
I would expect nothing different, but
that I can't respect that, and I think you respect that I can't respect that somewhere in you.
I do.
And if you look at all the things going on, if we were truly a free society, I don't think a lot of them would be going on. Um, and so, you know, that, I think it may be near the last word of the second itemized thing in our state constitution is abolish. And I don't know what they call those, I don't know if they call them rights or what, but a lot of people that are reasonable thinking people, not more extreme like me, but reasonable, I'm reasonable too, but
Extreme.
folks like you might
I
call
don't
me
think
something like
we're
that.
extreme.
I think a lot of people are starting to question, and they to the abolish point yet, but they just haven't woken up fully yet.
Mhm.
And a lot of people honestly think that the election was rigged. And if you look at what's going on in Georgia and what they're admitting to now, you look at the woman that submitted thousands, over 1,000, fraudulent registration forms in Michigan, voter registration forms, caught. Local police did an investigation. Local police say she looks awfully guilty. She bails out, gets out somehow, flees the local jurisdiction. They send it to Michigan SOS investigations. They send it to FBI. Years go by, what's going on with it? What do they always say when they want to cover up? It's under investigation, we can't answer questions.
It does take
It's
them
a
a long
system
time.
of corruption that, you look at what happened down in the Georgia FBI office, if you get the chance, read it. Memo came out, they're gonna start putting, they want to start putting people in Catholic churches, especially more traditional ones. Like I go to mass sometime now and then when I was going regularly. I didn't go to where they spoke the old language or whatever. Those are the ones they're targeting, the more traditionalists. And then a whistleblower comes out and say, hey, they took me off this rape case to go have me, and this was without probable cause. They were just putting them in there. They had to redact it and say, oh, I wasn't part of this and all that. Nobody held to accountability though, because they all have immunities built into the law. And this individual whistleblows and said they took me off a rape case, serious case, to go stalk out a Catholic parking lot. No probable cause, anything. He went and testified in Congress. 3 of them went in front of Congress. They destroyed his life. He's in transition, go from one place to another. Government had all his materials because he's relocating there. They said, you're not going to be able to get that back right now, you're fired. He went to look for a job. FBI law regulations say, hey, we got to, any job you get has to be approved by the agency. They don't approve any jobs for this guy. Destroyed him. And you listen to those FBI under oath, those congressional testimonies, you're either on one side or the other. I personally believe, you look at all the lies coming out of government, everything seems like it's a lie. Shall not infringe, that means infringe. First Amendment, it's questionable. It's now not a priority in Delhi Township based on your top guy under trustees. You know that you know, some of that can be taken out of context maybe. Some of that can be an exposition of underlying values of maybe not a township, but of a leader in the township that could take us in a direction we don't want to go in. And when you put that in the context of elections being stolen by stealing First Amendment, and now you got a guy that's just trying to do township accountability, I don't even know that I have any violent record on the record.
You know?
I mean, I got in a fight in the 8th grade, I think was my last fight, I think.
Yeah.
Probably didn't go on the record, so I have a 0. You tell John this, if the guy's still freaked out, he's like the other guy. And this is twice now, twice Delhi Township.
Other guy, which one are you talking about?
Dan Ryan.
Dan Ryan, yeah, twice now, Delhi Township, like, you know, I'm having a conversation about somebody scared of me because I'm exercising
Did we tell Dan you said hi?
constitutional rights. Probably not. I don't think I would at this point. Here's the thing though, at this point, here's the other thing I'd want.
Okay,
Right?
what?
Because, you know, one is I think constitutional training would be good for all employees.
Mm-hmm.
And Skylar rejected that, and I don't think he understands the Constitution very well. That's just my personal opinion. I like the guy. If it's my choice and I had to hire somebody and I looked at what we had to choose from, he's a good guy, I'd pick him probably. I'd probably keep him.
I'd like to hear that.
And so, but Constitution, you know, he needs to come around to it, I think. And these folks need to have, you know, your officer, when I was rear-ended, and I called in y'all, and he came up, and he was the same guy that used to work at Hamilton County. Did we talk about this?
You talked with me about it.
Harry used to work at Hamilton County because I wanted to start an investigation on your officers, so I went to the sheriff, somebody that might be more legitimate in my opinion at the time, because y'all didn't seem like you were holding this guy to accountability for a criminal act.
That's hurtful.
And that guy didn't want to do anything about it. I was going to complain against some of the stuff. Anyway, he's the same guy that ends up coming up to service me up here, right?
They treat you good?
He was professional that day, but personality aside, professionalism that aside, I think he did the wrong thing in communications. You know, he said, you know, bumper damage like that, they're probably just, you know, paint it. It's cracked. And as, you know, Lieutenant points out, there's always damage deeper in.
Sure.
There often can be.
There is.
And I found out later, I thought I had a muffler problem. My car was damaged in the front, not my fault. I didn't call the police that day. I don't want to get you involved. I'm a heavy believer if, you know, I know it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but let's resolve things ourselves. And you know, it's got me a car that I could have gotten fixed.
Mm-hmm.
That probably wouldn't help out the people that ram me. In other words, lady rams me. I got a cracked bumper. I got maybe some inside damage, maybe some muffler damage now, and could get the insurance company to pay for it. They'd raise the rates. They'd probably make more money than they were making before. She'd be harder off than she was before. So I, as an individual, can take that hit, have a cracked bumper now, live in Delhi where they're going to try and cite me for something like that, so that's good. And you know, everybody's happy as long as I can maintain my happiness for that sacrifice I made. And so, but that guy, you know, I was kind of teetering between whether I'm going to go that route or whether I'm going to actually get her insurance and all that. By law, I think over $1,000 you're mandated to make a ticket. By law, even under $1,000, I think we were both mandated to swap some information. He told me, he said if I didn't give him certain kinds of information, he wasn't going to document a report. I don't think that's right. I think you ought to follow law. It sounds like you have a policy that isn't really following the law. It's following your own policy where you say we want to get all this information, even though law only requires us to get these couple pieces of information. And it turns out that even though he said he wasn't going to document it, his video cameras was on, so he's documenting the whole thing anyway. Because I told her ahead of time, I said, if you just sign a piece of paper saying you rear-ended me, I said, I'll think about it, and then we can go from there. And that's what I was asking from her, and she said, no. I said, all right, then I have to call the police. So, you know, he should have created a report document and offered it to me. I think a little bit of training, which is what I think Rich did. He had a conversation with him was appropriate. Not when it's to his folder. I don't even know that I complained on that guy or if that just happened to be a side conversation that came up.
That was a teaching moment.
So yeah, just side conversation. I wasn't even brought up if I didn't think of it when I was already talking with Lieutenant Rich. So yeah, keep up the good work, and
I'll talk to Skylar and see if we can get a sit-down conversation. I'm not making any promises, but I'll try.
Yep. And just curious.
Even if I gotta sit in there with you.
If I see, you know, if it's like, say it's like 10 to 2, just to get away from stuff, and you know, and he's walking out, and I say, hey, you know, I'm just gonna assume he's down low, and I say, hey, I just wanted to ask you a question or two, and maybe video record it, maybe post it on YouTube, or if I just say, hey, I just want to ask you a question or two, and you know,
that's reasonable.
I'm not threatening him or anything.
No, that's reasonable.
And you know, if he doesn't want to answer a question, then you know, I'm not gonna paparazzi him. but it seems like the paparazzi do a lot of that stuff, and they sure do get away with a lot of that. Ooh, man, if we want to lie, which I don't think, you know, I'm not the one at this point, but we could tell John, man, he's treating you like a celebrity. You know, you practice your strut. But no, he's got nothing to fear.
Drink that.
I appreciate y'all.
I'll make sure I let him know that, and again, we can't make this long again before we talk, but.
Yep.
We'll get, Rich will email you this video. He's got that.
And that goes without asking anymore, don't it?
He's learning quick. Yeah.
I noticed, Kath does, the, phone call videos now. And,
phone calls,
Yeah. She's quick on those.
They
Yeah,
still
it's
won't
pretty
give me
simple.
access to that for some reason.
I stopped up once to see if I could get a copy of the public records request, because I did it over the phone, just for that I could, you know, have a record of it. And she said, oh, I already sent it to you. Like, wow. All right,
Thanks
thank you
for,
guys.
thanks for clearing up the context for me.
Hope I didn't waste any of y'all's time. I know y'all busy people. How much does that just cost me? Mine's still here.
You good boy, huh?